Welcome back, Husky Pups, to Science Parts of a Plant. This is day 2. I'm going to ask you while I begin to share my screen so we can get to our lesson that you listen to me talk on and get something to write with and something to write on. So a piece of construction paper or lined paper, whatever works for you, and something to write with. A pen, a pencil, crayon, colored pencil, whatever is best for you. Go grab that while I find our lesson here. Let me share my screen, get back to where we left off yesterday. Okay, so if you're not back yet, I'm gonna give you the count to 3. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippis, 3 Mississippis. Don't crash into your tablet or your computer as you're sliding into your seat. I know you're excited. Let's get started today. That pencil, paper, whatever you have, put that aside for a minute. You're not going to use it just yet. So the first thing I want to look at today is our sunflower life cycle poster. So Mrs. Morgan's been sending out videos and clippets of plants that she has worked on very hard at sprouting and keeping alive at her house. One of them being a sunflower. So what did we see first? Well, the first things first, you saw me planting the seeds. What we couldn't see, what happened in the soil, was a root began to break out from that seed. And from there, the root continued to grow and the flower itself began to sprout. So that beginning stem began to form, and we still see the seed is attached there. So when we get to the baby plant, let's call it that, if we're thinking and kind of comparing life cycles here, you can see that it's an immature plant. There's no flower yet. There are definitely leaves, and it's already shed that seed, the shell of the seed. So then we move over to the next stage where we have this adolescent plant. So you begin to see the flower blooming. And then we move on to the adult plant. And what makes this so important and the difference between the flowers here, this flower is much bigger, and I can see definitions in here, those defined seeds. So that's where it's going to be able to reproduce. So whether they fall to the ground, maybe birds carry them and drop them some along the way, or maybe they're harvested, because I can go to Walmart, I can buy sunflower seeds. I don't have to go pick them out back myself. So there are farms out there that harvest seeds as well. So keep this poster in mind for this next piece. Now here's where your paper and pencil are going to come into play. How do plants reproduce? It's okay if you aren't sure yet. Take your best guess. Choose one plant you know and create a diagram showing the life cycle of this plant. Didn't we just do this with a sunflower? I think we did. So if I were to choose a sunflower, I could definitely draw my life cycle of a sunflower. I would maybe start it over here and make sure that I have, some seeds, and we go to it being planted right, and then the little seed. What came first? The top or the bottom had growth? I think it was the bottom, and it was a root. And then I would continue on with my life cycle. I'm not going to give you all of the answers. Why am I singing? I don't know. Miss Morgan's going a little crazy here. So I'm pretty sure that I need to label. What am I looking at? Because right now I have no idea. That kind of looks like raindrops to me, to be honest. So I might want to mark that it's a sunflower. So I'm going to ask that you pause the video real quick and do your own drawing on your paper. Ready? Pause. Okay, hopefully you're back. You've done your drawing. You've kind of explained how you think this process works of reproduction within plants. Okay, I'm going to continue on. I know I didn't complete my drawing, but I did tell you that I wasn't going to. So let's learn a little bit about this today, friends. Well, take a look at this picture. It's a flower. It's actually a plant. Each of these parts has a very important job. What do you think each part does? Well, if I look at these parts, we kind of discussed this with our key vocabulary in yesterday's lesson. So if we discuss this, what do the roots provide? Let's start at the bottom. It's the first thing that grows in the plant life cycle. What do they provide? Well, if I remember correctly, they provided structure, and they also help the plant to get nutrients and water. So it's a pretty important job. I mean, without the water and the nutrients from the minerals, the plant would die. Without structure, can the plant stand up? Not really, no. So the stem, what's the stem's job? Well, I remember from yesterday's vocabulary, that fill in the blank, that the stem is what transports the water and the minerals to the other parts of the plant. Now, leaf. We didn't really discuss leaf. It was kind of at the end. So I'm going to skip that one for a second. I'm going to think about that. So I'm thinking about leaves. What could leaves do for plants? And I'm going to go to seeds. Well, they have the really important job, right? The seeds, they need to be able to deposit into the ground and sprout and start the whole life process all over again. So that's really the beginning stage of growth. Without the seeds from a plant, you can't get another plant. It's that continual piece. Where do the seeds come from? Well, I think that has something to do with the flower, because if I remember the life cycle of a sunflower, I know the center of the flower is where the seeds are stored. So that would make sense to me. So like the seed picture must be a flower that's already bloomed or blossomed. So now I go back to the leaf. What does the leaf do? Well, I know that leaves are typically pretty big on flowers and they're green. I wonder if it has something to do with soaking up sunlight. I don't know. Let's see if we can find this out. Let's keep exploring to find what does the leaf do for the plant. Well, perfect. We start off with roots. The roots of a plant are what hold the plant into the soil. They take in water and minerals from underground, which help provide nutrients and keep the plant alive. Oh, we learned that. We talked about that yesterday. Kiss our brains. All right, let's keep going. Right up to the stem is the part of the plant that carries water and nutrients from the soil up to the other parts of the plant. The stem also provides the structural support for the plant, just like the spinal cord with humans. We talked about that yesterday too. I remember that. Leaves. Okay, this is the one Miss Morgan was like, I just don't know. Well, the leaves absorb the carbon dioxide and sunlight that a plant needs to live. The process of turning these things into food and nutrients for the plant is called photosynthesis. You know what? That photosynthesis, that seems like a really big, important word. I might want to jot that down on my piece of paper for later. That's important though. Let's go in the right direction, Miss Morgan, to the next slide. The flower, it helps the plant reproduce, making seeds that will grow into new plants. Not all plants produce flowers. Non-flowering plants like ferns produce spores instead of seeds. This is a different form of reproduction. I always did wonder how those plants that don't flower, how they reproduce. That's interesting. And seeds. The seeds of flowering plants, which come from the flower or the fruit, that's important because I know apples have seeds. Peaches definitely have that big peach pit. Must get buried into the ground to grow into new plants. Each plant has its own unique way of spreading its seeds. Well, I think I just learned the important parts of a plant and how they apply to the life cycle of a plant. Like if I don't know what their function is, I can't put that plant's life cycle together. take a look at our first question today. What are some ways that plants spread their seeds? Can you think of some common examples? Well, there's a picture, so let me click that. Oh, the dreaded dandelion. If you have seasonal allergies, you do not want these in your yard because they are going to wreak havoc on your allergies. I know, because I have them. All right, so how does that, if those are the seeds of a dandelion, how is it spread? Well, when I blow them, or there's some sort of force, they kind of spread all over the ground. And then in a few days or a week, my yard is full of dandelions. So one way plants can spread is through the use of wind in the air, spreading their seeds to other parts. Right? That's one way. Can you think of a different way? All right. Stop shouting at the computer screen. Maybe write down that way so that when you go back and do this lesson later, you can put your own example in. For now, we're going to go to our poll. What do we think today? The process that plants use to make energy out of sunlight is called, it was a really big word. Telekinesis? Well, I don't even think I've heard of that. Wasn't in today's slides. Photosynthesis. Amniocentesis. Well, that's a big word too. Well, my big word idea didn't work for me. I can't really narrow it down that way. I remember that photosynthesis. So I'm going to select that one because I also wrote it down on my paper because Mrs. Morgan told me to. All right, friends, we are going to stop right here today with our slides. So I want you to go back into Nearpod and I want you to complete slides 11 through 18 today. Okay, pause there. And then I also want you to take and draw a picture of a plant and label the parts of the plant. Then take a picture of it and post it to your portfolio in Class Dojo or share with your class in your next Zoom meeting. Okay, I look forward to seeing all the pictures of plants that everyone draws and creates. Be creative, use color, make sure you label all the parts, and we'll see you tomorrow, friends, for part 3.